1936, 56 seconds year, 2023, 6 month, June 19th day. And it's American President Trump new holiday, Juneteenth day. Slavery abolishment. So, I'm abolishing some slaves. Called migrant slave. MyGR ant slaves. So the next step is I decided, it seems like some of them were popping back up alive or whatever the fuck. So I just decided to get the hose and then create lakes. And so wash all the larvae and the ants into lakes. And then hopefully they'll all just drown. I mean, I gotta start getting a little bit more ingenious here. You know, this is all military tactic stuff. What's the least amount of energy to spend and the best solution to the problem? So, you know, yeah, it's the same thing going on with military weapons. I mean, since how they know how to control the weather, they're thinking, okay, what's the best way to get rid of some of these migrant slaves over here? So they just send, you know, pools of water on the earth to wash them all away into a big giant lake. They all drowned. Send a tidal wave and all kinds of shit goes on. So, you know, it's just military tactic. I mean, some use the technology and the tactics for a bad cause. Some use it for a good cause, and whatever else, other causes there are to use it. I mean, it's just a thought floating around in the universe to be utilized any way it wants. You know, is a gun bad? Is a weapon bad? Is this grass bad? You know, is a human bad? Is a dog bad? You know, well, no, the dog in itself isn't bad. It can utilize bad purposes. A weapon can be utilized for a bad purpose or a good purpose. A gun can be utilized for a bad purpose or a good purpose. A human can be utilized for a bad purpose or a good purpose. A tactic, a thought, an idea can be utilized for a good purpose or a bad purpose or any other purpose, whatever the fuck it is. You know, in itself, something, you know, doesn't just because something exists in the universe doesn't mean that it's bad and bad only. even if something's used for a bad purpose, there's still a good side to the bad purpose, to the bad use of it. There's a bad and good side to a bad use of something, and then it keeps going on and on. I mean, as far as the you know, they call that the integer flower. The fucking the shadow and shape of life. I learned this shit in fucking trading fucking currencies. You know, the patterns inside patterns at the smallest level is still the same pattern on the biggest level. And so the Fibonacci pattern, that's what it's called. It's called the Fibonacci pattern. You know, the flower of life. You know, all that other shit going into studying the tetrahamagram or whatever the fuck. There's all kinds of names for the same idea. You know, and as far as I'm concerned, really all just a fucking story anyway. You know, it could be some fucking hologram, a computer program. Who knows really? I don't really know really what the fuck it is. All I know is someone came up with the story, and he presents all this evidence, and he shows it to me, and I look at it, and I think, well, God, man, I suppose if I really wanted to believe it, and at one time I believed that, you know, everything I was told from a child, you know, and stuff like that, you know, children are easily swayed, you know. When I was a child, I was easily swayed. Let me just put it that way. That way it doesn't include anyone and put a tax on someone. When I was a child, I was easily swayed. And I'll just leave it at that. And then once that statement is said, and that's it floating in the air, now any living organism can catch that broadcast, that radio signal that's been broadcast in the ham radio sky or the GRMS sky or shortwave radio, long wave, AM, FM, IM, whatever alphabetical, all kind of frequencies out there to fucking get in contact with. to hear anything that's, you know, an idea or a thought or something said, you know. You know, everything that could be said and thought, you know, it's floating around to be picked up. and to be considered on a receiver, a radio receiver. So, communications, there's all kinds of ways to communicate, not just fucking radio. There's ESP, extra sensitivity, there's invisibility, all kinds of shit. Just because someone says that it's this way and this way only, and they teach it at the university, and they said, I'm the master at this, I'm the scientist at this, and all that, doesn't mean that it's only that and that only. That's what I've learned. I've learned, well, fuck. I can look around and observe shit and come to conclusions too, and tell stories and present ideas what I think's going on. And then that gets broadcast across the whole fucking universe too, as a new thought, that wasn't around, and or maybe it's been around, it's just being repeated. Who the fuck, how the fuck do I really know? One day I would like to know. I'm sure someone's hiding all kinds of shit from me to keep me from knowing, and doing it on purpose too. Or it just could be a natural growth process. It could be all kinds of shit. So I just have fun with it all. The one thing that I've learned is not to really get locked into anything. Because, to me, that just kind of fucks me up. And, when I get locked into just one thing, one thing only, and then all of a sudden I hear a new idea, but I'm so fucking locked into the fucking one thing, one idea that I know, I feel this struggle within me, like, oh my God, I start to tear apart inside, like, eventually I start to tear apart, like, you know what, I really need to look at something else that's out there too and consider it, instead of just sitting here inside. I'm just kind of really kind of tearing up, but I'm not really tearing up. I'm just tearing up for the moment when I consider the thought. I can go a long time without considering nothing and just hold on to what I know until that thought comes back around and it shows up, and I say, oh my God, and here it is again. Fuck. Nah, I don't want to deal with it now. I'm just fucking, I don't want to tune into it, right? I don't want to listen to that radio show. So I just tuned it out. It just, just like, any radio, it's got a dial on it. I can listen to all kinds of ideas out in the universe. The radio waves all over the fucking place with people sharing this and sharing that. But what I've learned is that most of the radio programs are controlled by a central controller. Ugh, that's a big point right there. Most all these radio waves that are out there, all these thoughts that are being presented, most of them are all controlled by one central controller. Yeah, that is one big eye-opener for me. Woo! Woo, 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 woo. And that's why I've learned how to more and more get out from underneath that control and not strive to go with that one control system, which is all based on permission. In other words, I got to go to the Pope to get permission and all his universities and get a license and permits and all kinds of shit. And I'm like, fuck that. Fuck that. That doesn't seem very equal and fair to fucking me. Fuck that. I'm going to bring some fairness and equality into the situation. So that's why I just blurt out where I'm at, and especially what I call this free speech zone. This is the radio station right here where I like to broadcast. I just fucking blurt it out. And say what I need to say without no fucking permission from nothing and no one. That's just where I'm at with everything. I mean, really, it could all come down to this, that the controller will eventually, he'll get tired of me. And he'll somehow come figure out some way to shut my ass up. And I figure, well, if it happens, it happens. If it happens, it happens. If I die, I die. So what? I'm not planning on it. I'm not planning on being shut up. Fuck that. And I'm not, and at the same time, I'm not planning on fucking grinding the controller to the ground and all that shit. I ain't have to kill and shut his ass up. And that's the one thing that I see that's different between the broadcast I put out and the controlling broadcast he continually controls and puts out. Is he don't like fucking hearing what others have to say outside of his fucking control. And he'll go so far as to shut it up and kill it. And for me, what I bring is, no, I ain't have to kill it. I ain't have to kill someone else's story. I am out to expose it, though, and share what I think what it is. And that's a little bit different than, the control side that I see going around. Broadcast throughout the whole fucking universe. The control side. So, and that's why I always say, I shall see what happens then. Because I don't really know what's going to happen with all this. But, I got an expectation. And the expectation to me seems very logical and a lot of sense in it. Very much. Yeah. To bring equality into the situation. To allow all stories to be heard and proclaimed. All ideas, all actions, whatever anyone wants. And that includes exposing everything to the point where, if one feels, I always think if one feels a little bit, kind of exposed for something that they're bringing, there might be more consideration on it and think, well, wow. Looks like everyone can see what I'm up to now instead of me hiding stuff from someone and tricking them into this and manipulating them to that and stuff like that. And, there might be more consideration to think, oh, shit. And to me, that's just a natural growth process that the child goes through. Very sensible to me. But, like I said, I could be wrong. Anyway, so here I got military tactics I've used right here to bring some weather control, energy weapons or whatever the fuck. I just brought, pooled floods. I moved the water around so that it goes into the deep parts of the tarp. And so all these little my GR ants, Vatican grants, these Vatican grants, which a grant is something that's given to someone, and if they don't follow the permission rules, then it's taken away. So this migrant idea, I'm fucking drowning the fuck out. I'm drowning it the fuck out right here with a military tactic. Would that be the Noah's flood technique? Wow. Is that the fake Jesus story, flood technique? Could be. It's just one technique as far as I'm concerned, but it happens to be the technique that's being used right here. Water is also known as the girl energy. Water and earth are the girl energy from the studies that I've looked into. Fire and air are the boy energies, are the warrior, the energies that the warrior likes to use, the bully, fire and air. So anyway, could the girl energy bringing some equality into the situation with all this migrant infiltration, invasion shit going on? Huh? Migrants, which is a fake money system, a fake control system, a temporal night order system, though, none the doubt, out of necessity, because it just represents growth for a child. But yet, a little boy child, I would call it, a little boily child that's, probably being guided motherly love. Could be, what if? When I look around and observe, this is what I see going on. And this is the story I share, and the radio that I broadcast in the air with all the other signals, whether it be ham radio, GMRS, short wave, long wave, NPR wave, BBB wave, whatever fuck, AM, FM, fucking DUM, travel platform, ESP, blah, 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 whatever the fuck. Yeah, I'm broadcasting a radio station too. And it seems to be going against the grain of who controls all the other permit stations, the license stations. It seems to be going against the grain. But, at the same time, it's just a mother helping a little boy grow up. The little son that she gave birth to. The universal motherly energy helping the little son she gave birth to. When Father Universe and Mother Universe mated together and brought forth this thing called atmosphere around. This atmosphere. When I go outside, I feel something in the air. I feel an atmosphere in the air. Well, what's the atmosphere? Well, it's all these frequencies, all these radio frequencies, all these thoughts, all these expectations, just floating around all over. That's atmosphere to me. It's also known as the ether, which is also the fifth element that most universities don't speak on. There's fire, earth, air, and water, and then there's ether, number 5. And ether probably has a double too, just like fire and air double up to be male energy. Earth and water double up to be the woman and the girl energy, or the woman or whatever, boy, girl. And there's the ether, the atmosphere. It probably has a double, and I haven't figured out what the double is yet. But I know that the atmosphere, it's so it'll come probably. Who knows? I could be wrong. Maybe the child only just has one. Who knows? Maybe there's 3 for each. Maybe there's 5, 6, 7, 8, 100 for each. All I know is that, as a basis to the story that I share, there's 2 that the common guy on the street, could probably comprehend. Because most people are familiar with fire, earth, air, and water. As they listen to different radio shows, television shows, Hollywood movie shows, concert shows, all kind of shit that there's out there to listen to, consider. Fire, earth, air, and water are pretty common. So I like to speak a common language that most other living organisms understand. It's just very sensible to me. Anyway, so that's that. Yeah, this is a good little video. So pull a finger.